Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss the third part of the class 10 science 2 chapter number 1 Heredity and Evolution. In the first two part already we have studied about the heredity and evolution. Now we are moving towards the third part of the chapter. In that, we are going to learn about the Darwin's theory of natural selection. Charles Darwin, and he had collected a huge number of specimens of plants and animals. He collected them and he studied them widely. He has observed their each and every characteristics in generation to generations, how that's passing from one generation to the another generation. Not only that, along with that, he studied who is surviving and who is perishing. In this particular complete study, he come to one of the conclusion and he named it as a theory of natural selection. In that, he said is a survival of the fittest. He has given the concept of a survival of the fittest. He said that whoever is a fit to the environment, whoever is a stronger, that particular specimen will only survive. The other, who is a weak, who is not fit to the environment or the habitat in which they are living, they will perish or they will extinguish. While explaining all this concept, Darwin had published a book titled as The Origin of Species. And in that he explained about how this particular living organisms would have came across a different kind of a evolution or the changes in their body itself. Further, as he said in this part, all the organisms compete with each other in life-threatening manner. What does it mean, the life-threatening manner? Life-threatening manner means whoever is the fit or the stronger, they will take over to the weaker sections. And that's why he named it as, or he coined this particular word, that is a life-threatening manner. In this competition, only those organisms sustain which show the modification essential for winning the competition to survive. After this, when we talk about the Darwin's theory of natural selection, in this many things were had the objection by the others. In that, the first one was the natural selection is not the only factor responsible for evolution. Darwin's theory was accepted, but the peoples had the objection. Then, in that, the first one, what they have mentioned over here, was the natural selection is not the only factor responsible for evolution. Means what they want to say over here is that the evolution, what they were predicting, what they were thinking, or the theory what they have given for the evolution, in that everything was okay, but the natural selection they didn't consider is only the factor. There are a lot of factors in that. It's not only their survival, the many things, their need, that is also one of the another important factor of the evolution. The next they have mentioned over here is a Darwin did not mention any explanation about useful and useless modifications. In this, Darwin only gave that the natural selection. He never explained, or his theory never explained about the useful and useless modifications in the process of evolution. There is no explanation about slow changes and abrupt changes. he never explained about that the slow change, why there was some characters showed the slow change in the process of evolution. Same way about the abrupt changes also, there was no explanation. But irrespective of all these objections, Darwin's work on evolution was a milestone. Further is they have given information about the Charles Robert Darwin that you can go through. Then the next is the Lamarckism. Jean Baptiste Lamarck proposed that morphological changes occurring in living organisms are responsible for evolution, and the reason behind those morphological changes is activities or laziness of that organism. What he explained in this particular theory or the Lamarckism, he said that each and every evolution in the living organism is due to their activities or the laziness of that particular organism. Now he explained this with a different example, in that one of the example what he have chosen over here is of the giraffe. You know very well. You can see here about the neck of the giraffe. What exactly is happening with the giraffe? What he explained over here in the category of the giraffe is giraffe initially they didn't had the long neck, but in the process of reaching up to the green leaves in the habitat in which they were living, all the leaves were at the great height. So reach up to there, they used to pull their neck upward, and due to that slowly and slowly the evolution took place and their length of the neck started to increase. Further is another example, like here he has taken is about the legs of birds like swan and duck have become useful for swimming due to living in water, and snake have lost their legs by modification in their body for burrowing habit. The snake started to get the habit of the burrowing and to go inside the soil, and due to that he lost his leg in the evolution. Further is development of organs due to specific activities of their degeneration due to no use at all was widely accepted, but transfer of those characters from generation to generation was rejected. And further is because it had been verified many times that modifications brought in us are not transferred to next generation, and thereby Lamarck's theory was disproved. So this was the reason why the Lamarck's theory was disproved. Further is speciation. Speciation, formation of new species of plants and animals, is the effect of evolution. Species is a group of organisms that can produce fertile individuals through natural reproduction. Each species grows in specific geographical condition. Their food habitat, reproductive ability and period is different. However, genetic variation is responsible for formation of new species from earlier one. Besides, geographical and reproductive changes are also responsible. Similarly, geographical or reproductive isolation also leads to speciation. Means what they want to say in this particular thing is that few plants and the animals is showing the effect of evolution. It's not all the living organisms or whatever existing on the earth is showing the step of the evolution, but some of the plants or some of the animals are only showing the effect of the evolution, and some of the species only going towards the genetic variation for the formation of the new species as compared to the previous one. Further, they have mentioned over here is about the human evolution. They have given about the human evolution, how the human evolved till date. In this particular process, they have mentioned about this chart. In this, you can observe that ancient animal like a lemurs, they were present in the Africa, and it was almost 7 crores years ago. Then he developed into a Egyptopithecus, which was almost 4 crore years ago. In this particular, if you will see, they are mentioned over here is about the biodiversity that is known today has been said to be formed from very simple unicellular organism, that at the beginning of the chapter already we have studied that the life started with the unicellular organism. In this evolution of origin of a human can be shown as per the following picture, and the last dinosaurs have disappeared approximately 7 crore years ago. And that time the monkey-like animal was present in the Africa, which was named as a modern lemurs. Tail of this monkey like animal of Africa is said to be disappeared around 4 crore years ago. First of all, they lost their, or when the evolution started in the lemurs, they lost their tail. Tail of this monkey-like animal of Africa disappeared around 4 crore years ago. They developed due to enlargement in their brain size. Their brain size started to increase in a evolution, and then the ape-like animal were evolved. Meanwhile, this ape-like animal reached the south and northeast of Asia and finally evolved into a gibbon and organton. Further, as remaining ape-like animals stayed in Africa, and from them gorilla and chimpanzee evolved. About 2.5 crore years ago, evolution of some of the 2 crore year old species of apes seem to occurred in a different way. They had to use their hands more for eating and other work. And in this you can observe that the skilled human started around 20 lakh years ago. And then the modern what we are seeing is the Cro-Magnon man around 50,000 years ago. Further is those apes started to live in land and forest started to decline due to dry environment. Their the backbone, developed in such a way that they started to stand in erect posture in a grassland, and thereby their hands became available for use to perform the different work. Further, they have given is about the first record of a human-like animal is with us in a form of a Ramapithecus ape from East Africa. Afterwards, this ape grown up in size and became more intelligent, and thus ape of South Africa evolved about 40 lakh years ago. Now in the next picture they have shown the size of a brain. You can see it's enlarging, and development of a human brain they have shown over here. The morphology of these human-like animals started to appear like to be the member of the genus Homo. About 20 lakh years ago, the skilled human developed. About 15 lakh years ago, human walking with an erect posture evolved, and it may have existed in China and Indonesia of the Asian continent. Further, as evolution of an upright man continued in the direction of developing its brain about 1 lakh years, and meanwhile it discovered the fire, and then they discovered the fire. Brain of a 50,000-year-old man had been sufficiently evolved to extent that it could be considered as a member of the class wise man, that is Homo sapiens. The further is the next part they have given is about the Neanderthal men can be considered as the first example of a wise man. The name was the Neanderthal. The Cro-Magnon man evolved about 50,000 years ago, and afterward this evolution had been faster than the earlier. Means the rate of evolution was much faster as compared to the earlier. And about 10,000 years ago, wise men started to practice the agriculture. So they started to have a farming. And then the art of writing was invented about 5,000 years ago, and the history has been started. Modern sciences emerged about 400 years ago, and industrial society was established about 200 years ago. So this is all what we are having about the human's root or the roots of a human ancestry, how the human evolved. So this is all about the chapter. Thanks for watching.